The Houston Texans traded for Joe Mixon this offseason. Dameon Pierce is still on the team. What should they do when it comes to running back and the 2024 NFL Draft? Welcome into the channel. I'm Cody Stoots. Let's talk some Texans, and let's talk about the running back room for the Houston Texans, and should they be using one of their draft picks to get themselves a running back. Let's start with Joe Mixon, who's the unquestioned number one for this team. They traded for Mixon this offseason and gave him a contract extension, meaning the Texans feel pretty darn good about what Mixon is bringing to the table. And he is a guy that I feel pretty strongly about. I feel like he has 1,500 yards from scrimmage potential for this team. And with that, maybe you don't make it a top priority to add to the running back room. But we all know that running back one needs to be backed up by some other running backs. And if Joe Mixon were to miss time, it's a lot of question marks after Mixon. Dameon Pierce is still on this team, but his 2023 season looked nothing like his 2022 season in a variety of ways. If the team has a belief that Dameon Pierce is going to bounce back, is going to be closer to nearly 1,000-yard rusher and bright spot through a season of crappy football 2022, Dameon Pierce, and a lot less like couldn't grasp the offense, couldn't get it to click 2023 Dameon Pierce. If that's the belief of the team, that he's going to bounce back, then you lower running back on the priority list. But if there's questions about Dameon Pierce, and there should be significant questions about Dameon Pierce's ability to impact this team in 2024, then you've at least got to move running back up the priority list a little bit. I wouldn't put it ahead of cornerback or safety or defensive tackle or maybe even a wide receiver, but running back should be something that the Texans are considering. Now, as far as this 2024 draft class, it's nothing like last year's draft class. Last year's draft class featured two no-doubt first-rounders with a clean prospect setup. Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. Any team would have been lucky to end up with those guys. You could have made the argument that Robinson should have gone a little bit higher than he did, and Gibbs, he went probably higher than most thought, but obviously he brings a lot to the table. That's not the case here with this running back class. Daniel Jeremiah from the NFL Network said earlier in the draft process he could see running backs start to come off the board at the end of the second round, and that's about where the Athletic's Dane Brugler sees most of these running backs, is second rounders and on. In fact, he has no second round only draft grade on any prospect. Jonathan Brooks from the University of Texas is his top running back, and he has a second to third round grade on Brooks. There's question marks about a lot of these running backs, and all of them have something in their prospect potential that is a big question mark. For instance, Brooks, it's his injury. He's coming off of a serious leg injury. He swears he'll be ready by July. As far as the Houston Texans go, they start before everybody else because of the Hall of Fame game. Is Brooks ready to go from day one to get acclimated to the NFL and to help you out? I don't know. That'd be my big concern with him. Going through the rest of some of these running back names, I'll fire through them quickly and tell you some of the issues that may occur with this prospect. Blake Corum from Michigan might be too small. He was really good at the goal line in college. Is that going to be the case at the NFL? Trey Benson and Jalen Wright, Florida State and Tennessee. Vision might be the issue for both of those guys, though I like Jalen Wright as much as anybody else in this class. Marshawn Lloyd from USC. He's a really fun player. He may only ever be a part-time running back, though he is an explosive player. Braylon Allen from Wisconsin may not do anything great, and when he does do stuff good, it may be inconsistent. Audric Estime. I believe I said his name right. I want to make sure I get the pronunciation near correct. Audric Estime. Audric Estime from Notre Dame. He might just be a big, slow guy. That might be the issue with Estime. Bucky Irving might be too small. Ray Davis from Kentucky, he might have too much wear and tear on him. Will Shipley from Clemson might only be a third down running back in the NFL, despite previously being one of the top running back prospects in all of high school football. Tyrone Tracy Jr. from Purdue, he might actually be a running back, though he's only played running back a little bit because he previously was a wide receiver. And before that, at Purdue, he was a wide receiver at Iowa. So it's not like they threw him the ball a lot, though he can catch the ball well out of the backfield. Isaac Garindo is a career backup at the college level, though he was really, really fast at the scouting combine, and they got people to put a couple of extra eyeballs on him and drop that P word on him, potential. The Cody Schrader from Missouri might simply just have too much wear and tear on his tires and might not be a NFL caliber consistent running back like you would like. So look, there's some concerns about these guys. There's concerns about every draft prospect. It's not like the Texans have done an amazing job of getting running backs in the building and developing them. Look at last year with Dameon Pierce. I mean, they had him in the building. He got worse from his rookie year to his second year. Yeah, there's some circumstances that changed, like the offense and things like that, but they didn't develop him well. He took a step back. And Devin Singletary played well, had some of his best football of his NFL career with this Texans team, but that's just Singletary performing in the offense that fit him, not necessarily the Texans doing a good job coaching it out of him, as far as I see it right now. So what exactly are you going to get when you get one of these rookies in the building from the Texans, and how much do they need to put on the rookie's plate right away? Is that player brought in to be running back 2? If that's the case, how does Dameon Pierce fit as running back 3? He doesn't play special teams on a consistent basis. He doesn't offer really much special teams usefulness, and he's not a third down back. If that player's running back 3, do you need to prioritize something like that? Do you need to go out there and spend a top 4 rounds, a top 127 or so draft pick on a player that's going to initially be running back 3 and be a guy that's going to play special teams for you, and that's how he's going to help you out early on? So I've got 3 names if they want to prioritize running back that I feel like would fit pretty well. And then I've got 2 names if they want to deprioritize running back, but could still be hanging around when one of those 2 sixth-round picks shows up, or if they wanted to move around in those latter rounds and jump up into those, like I said, the 5th round to get one of these running backs. So 3 names for prioritize, top 4 rounds for the running back spot. Marshawn Lloyd is my guy in this running back class. I like him a lot. He's explosive. He doesn't have a lot of carries to his name. Just over 300, which is around the same as Dameon Pierce when he was coming out of Florida, and the Texans ended up drafting him. I feel like the Texans like that about prospects. Now, the thing with Lloyd is he's never going to be the number 1 guy. So if Joe Mixon's not there, can you turn to Marshawn Lloyd, play in and play out? I don't believe you can. So that'd be one of my main concerns with Lloyd as a prospect. I like his ability to catch the football out of the backfield, though. Braylon Allen, he is a 20-year-old prospect. He's one of the younger players in this draft, and there's loads of potential to him. Initially recruited to play defense, he ended up at running back at Wisconsin, had a couple of really nice seasons, wasn't as good his 3rd year as his 2nd year, which is something that's concerning. And again, I said earlier, maybe he does nothing great, a lot of things good, and he's inconsistent on those good things. Hopefully you can get a lot more consistency out of him if he is running back 2 for this team. And the other one where it's, top 4 round investment, despite the question marks in his profile, which are speed, wear and tear, and his age, I like Ray Davis from Kentucky. He was the only offensive thing that got going with Kentucky last year. In a SEC where you walk on the field and the ball basically has to go to Ray Davis, Ray Davis still went out there and succeeded at running back. He's going to be 25 years old over the course of this season. He's had a ton of carries on his body. He has, I think, about 3 times the amount of carries as a guy like Marshawn Lloyd from USC. So that's my worry with Ray Davis, but I just love what he brings to the table from a toughness standpoint. Yes, he's not super fast. That's fine. You find the holes. You let him be physical and nasty with the opposition and get you some yards. I like what he brings to the table, even though he may only be a few years at the running back spot as far as a solution and when you can depend on him because of the age and wear and tear that he's got on him. Now, those are the 3 players if we're sort of prioritizing running back for the Houston Texans. If we're kind of taking it down a notch and maybe just kind of seeing how the draft goes and snagging someone late, I got two names for you. One is Cody Schrader from Missouri, and he is a fun prospect. I didn't love him in the draft process, but what he did at Missouri is undeniable. This is a guy that formerly was a Division II guy, worked his way on, walked on at Missouri, and by the time he finished workouts and the season got started, he was the starting running back for Missouri in the SEC. Last year, this past season, in the SEC, he had the 5-year high mark for rushing yards in the SEC. That is productivity that is on another level from a lot of these prospects. Not many of these guys can sit there and say that they have been as productive as what Schrader brings to the table. He's nasty with the ball in his hands. He doesn't mind contact, which is a bit of an issue when you add in his size to the equation. But he's a guy that can play special teams for you, played linebacker in high school, and played on kickoff teams at Missouri. So he can play special teams for you right away and catch the ball pretty well out of the backfield. He's a fun and interesting player. Should the thing get to like the late 5th round, you want to move some of those 2nd and 7th round or 6th and 7th round picks around to go and get him. I like what his potential could be for this team. And again, has a defined role right away as sort of running back 3, special teams, things like that. And the other name, if you're not prioritizing the running back spot, you want to take a little late swing. What if I told you the Texans could get Danny Woodhead on this team? Yeah, that Danny Woodhead. Well, he's not available to be signed as a free agent, and it's not exactly Danny Woodhead, but it's pretty darn close. You ever heard of New Hampshire football? Yeah, me neither before this draft process. But Dylan Laube is a guy that has put New Hampshire football on the map. Laube is a do-it-all, smaller prospect from a small school along the lines of what Danny Woodhead put together. Where did Danny Woodhead cut his teeth and have some success? The New England Patriots. Who was in charge of some of the decision-making and helping out in the decision-making when Woodhead was taking care of business for the Patriots? How about Nick Caserio? I'd love to know, with a little truth serum, if there's some Danny Woodhead potential in the eyes of Nick Caserio when you think about Dylan Laube from New Hampshire. I don't even know what the mascot is. New Hampshire. That's right. Impressed at the Senior Bowl. People really liked him and what he brought to the table. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, help you on special teams. Again, clearly defined role and low investment. Could be a 5th, 6th round pick that the Texans would spend on him. I know they don't have a 5th rounder, but they could easily get one with 4 selections over the 6th and 7th round as well. So 3 names if they want to prioritize running back, 2 names if they want to keep it a little bit lower on the priority chart. What do you think? Do you love one of the running backs in this draft? Let me know in the comments section down below. On your way down there, throw me a thumbs up on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And look out in the description for the information on the draft party. Day 3 of the NFL draft. Daley Sports Club is where myself, Landry Locker, who's here on YouTube with the Locker Room Podcast, our buddy Figgy Fig, who helped put this idea together and find us the spot, Daley Sports Club. We're going to be hosting a draft party. Come out. We're going to have drink specials. We're going to talk about days 1 and 2 of the NFL draft. We'll watch day 3. Heck, we might watch one of these running backs get drafted right there in day 3, rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7 with you talking Texans football. You don't want to miss out on it. You also don't want to miss out on your chance to win a customized Houston Texans jersey, one of the new ones. A customized Houston Texans jersey. Information on that to follow. So be looking at the description. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of it. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. And I can't wait until we talk Texans again soon.